he'll be at work and he'll be like smiling at everyone and very pleasant, joking around. But, life isn't perfect and the jobs aren't perfect and, you have your ups and downs. So, these things are happening to him, but he just kind of like keeps it in. And, he's just smiling, how are you doing, joking around, I said. Now when he gets home, that is his outlet for release. So as soon as he walks in the door, he becomes a different person. He becomes the epitome of rage. He's just he's just emitting rage after rage after rage. And if you do the slightest thing to upset him, then that's it. He just starts shouting and God forbid even getting physical as well too. And unfortunately we see this happening. Okay. Now for such a person, if they do not have God, I'm talking about God, if they don't have God, meaning that they've actually understood Islam and they're practicing Islam the way it should be practiced. If they don't have the true Islam, what's going to prevent them from just letting it out? After all, it's been building up the whole day. They have this tension. And nobody's there, right? They walk in the door, they close the door. Who's watching them? So they just go. Let it forth. But somebody who has God is reminded that no, there's some greater power who, number one, is watching me. I'm not alone. Every moment of mine is under the surveillance of God. And so I have to be careful, even if it's behind closed doors. If he was with me at workplace, he's with me right now, why should I act any different at home? And second of all, when somebody like that is praying to God, and he's standing in front of him, and he's saying, Subhana Rabbiyal Azimi wa bihamdih. My Lord is perfect and He is pure. He is exalted and He is the great. Or Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdih. He is the most high. But he realizes that, wait a minute, I don't have the right to act as if I'm superior and I have the right to dominate and control and choke off my family. That's not correct. Because I'm a human being, I'm a servant of Allah, they're a servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He didn't bestow that any power into me where I can somehow say that God has made me powerful and therefore I can be angry at you. It doesn't work that way. And he'll remember that, wait a minute, this blessing that I have on my family, my wife, my children, well, that is from God. It's a trust. God entrusted me with these things. And He wants me to treat them properly. And one day I'll be accountable. I have to say that, okay, God, how is it that I treated the trust that you gave me? I'll be asked about these things. So the prayer reminds him of these things. Because, he remembers where everything is coming from. So it's necessary, brothers and sisters. If we don't have that, what's going to control us? What's going to keep us in check? We need that reminder. Please recite salawat. Somebody who doesn't, for example, have a connection with the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. If you have that connection with the Ahlul Bayt, then at least you'll be ashamed of doing something that that they wouldn't be happy with. Like today, for example, today is the day of Wednesday, right? On Wednesday, it's recommended to recite, there's a short ziyarah for every day, where we mention a few of the imams. On Wednesdays, it's the ziyarah for 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th imams. It takes this long, it takes half a minute or a minute to recite it. It's a good thing to do on a daily basis. If you can't read Arabic, you can read the English translation. In that ziyarah, we remember that Imam Musa al-Kadhim, the 7th imam, is called al-Kadhim. He is the one who suppresses his anger. And so when we read that, we remind ourselves of the Ahlul Bayt. We do ziyarah of the Ahlul Bayt. It's supposed to remind us of their qualities. And me as his Shia, I should say that, wait a minute, how can I be there and have no control over my rage while my imam is known by his quality as somebody who is able to control his rage? So brothers and sisters, what we've shown is that the effects of worship, they play a very important role in keeping us in check. But not only that, they also play a very important role in launching us towards perfection. And what I want to say now is that if somebody really wants to become a perfect person, they really want to do something that no one has ever done before, they need Islam. Somebody made a claim some time ago, and he said that, what would you do? He asked this question. Okay, he said, what would you do if Imam Hussein a.s. was not a Muslim? and he's still done the sacrifice that he did, would you still commemorate him? Would you still mourn for him the way that you do? What we would say to him is that Imam Hussein Islam did what he did because of his Islam. There's no way that he can achieve the ultimate form of sacrifice and the ultimate form of servitude and dedication and martyrdom had it not been for his Islam. Let me give you the example of Imam Khomeini rahmatullahi alayhi. Imam Khomeini, we're told that in the morning time, before the Fajr prayer, he would wake up and he would start worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if there's a war going on, even if there's threats on, if his son was martyred, whatever it is the case, he'd wake up in the morning, start praying. And his son reports that he would cry so much out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And fear of Allah it's not just a simple notion that, I'm scared that God will punish me. No, it's something much deeper than that. Okay? He would cry so much at the fear of Allah that a handkerchief wouldn't be sufficient to wipe off his tears. He would need a towel. Now the same Imam Khomeini who would be worshipping in the morning, you would see that in the daytime he'd be like a lion. Right? The strength that he would get from his bandagi, from his worshipping, from his servitude, from his Islam, was such that he could do what he did that no one else had ever done before. They say that when the two bodyguards, or the two sort of what do you call them? Those people from SAWAK, right? From the national intelligence, the two agents. They come to kidnap him from his home in Qom, and they come at the middle of the night because they want to do the sort of surprise thing and kind of scare everyone, right? Make a big, that kind of like for the headlines to say that Imam Khomeini was snatched away in midnight from his home. So they go and they take Imam Khomeini from his home, and they put him in the taxi, and in the government car, and both of them, he's sort of like in the middle, and then the two of them are sitting on each side of him. So it's reported that as they leave Qom and they go towards Tehran, that these two men were shaking out of fear because the magnitude of the mission that they were. They had Imam Khomeini, right? He's the leader of the opposition. It was too much for them to bear. They were scared to death, right? And it got to the point where Imam Khomeini was looking at them. He's like, "Calm down, like you don't have to be scared." He's the one. He's like comforting them. He's like, "You don't have to be scared. God's there, and just chill out." And they're like, they're supposed to be. He's supposed to be the one who's scared, right? But he's not scared because he has that perfection of character. He has that perfection of character where he can be a leader for the sake of performing wajib duty. It's his duty to be the leader, not that he's like campaigning and saying, "Oh no, please take me as your leader." No, because it's his duty. That's why he steps forward, and he doesn't get tainted by worldly promises of position and power and money and these type of things. So, if you want to see examples, that's why we have. If you look at our ulama, it's good to read the stories of our ulama. We see how did they achieve greatness. It was only because of their worship, because of their Islam, that allowed them to have those characteristics, that allowed them to flourish and make their souls, broader and able to receive that perfection, to expand their souls, which then enable them to perform such wonderful things, such wonderful acts of service to their Creator and to humanity. That was a necessary part. Islam is necessary, brothers and sisters. Now the other part of the discussion is, what about Muslims? Okay, and that inshallah we'll be covering not tomorrow night. Tomorrow night I want to do a special topic related to Imamat and Imam Ali Islam, but inshallah the night after.